Hi guys, and welcome to the Kontakt Script Programmer. Today we're going to be looking at 2.5, which is actually really awesome and something you will use a lot. So the listener callback. Okay, on listener means that whenever you use a transport control, like whenever you play, stop, pause, fast forward, rewind, every time you use that, this is called. Okay, so if you're trying to do something that is synced to picture, synced to a sequencer, an arpeggiator, something like that, you have to use this on listener command. So the listener callback is executed at time intervals defined with the set listener command. Okay, so we're going to look at that as well, and can react to the host transport start and stop. This makes it an ideal callback for anything tempo synced like sequences, arpeggiators, MIDI file players, phrase loops, phrase samplers. So if you're looking at any of the sonokinetic stuff, they use a lot of this. You can also set your resolution so it can be in beats, bars, instead of milliseconds and ticks and things like that. So the example that we're going to look at today, we initialize, so we went through initialization last video, and we declare a new UI knob called test. Okay, it has variables, well, it has values from 0, so minimum is 0, maximum is 99. It is a knob, so we'd turn it sort of clockwise or to go from 0 to 99, and it goes up in steps of 1 at a time. We declare a direction in terms of it turning. We declare a tick counter, okay, so something that's going to count each time where every millisecond passes and add it to the tick counter. We set listener, so we're setting the native instrument's signal timer in milliseconds in 10,000 milliseconds, okay? 10,000 milliseconds in seconds. So 10,000. So we've got this set listener, native instrument signal timer in milliseconds with 10,000 milliseconds, so 10 seconds. And then we're ending the initialization. Okay, from there, we start to jump into our on listener command. So if the native instrument signal type is native instrument signal timer in milliseconds, then we run this that's inside our if statement. We start our new if with direction being 0. And from there we increment, increment the tick counter by 1. Okay? So again, our tick counter doesn't actually have any variable either. After that, we either increment the tick counter or we else decrement the tick counter. We go back 1. Okay? Then we end our test, which was our UI knob from up here, becomes our tick counter. Okay, so the whole point of this is to basically make a knob go from 0 to 100, go from max value. Okay, so it's just kind of like creating a little clock, which we wouldn't have to use, but it's just to sync up in milliseconds. So again, even for something like delays, for particular delays, you could create a delay that has its own value set off tempo-based delays, so synced delays, as opposed to having to do them off mathematical functions. So, I mean, you have to do the maths first, but still handy. So then our tick counter, if it hits 99, it goes to 1, or our direction goes to 1, which means that we start going backwards. Okay, so we can count up to 99 and then count back and count up and count back. Okay, if the tick counter hits 0, then the direction hits 0, which means we start going back to our first loop, which means we start jumping back up to 99 again. Okay, so we're going to get something that goes kind of like left, right, right. It's going to be super great. I'm sure we'll definitely use it. I like that Kontakt definitely knows that we're not going to use this, but still handy. Okay, some of the C also, so the signal type or song position, that might be handy. Let's check out what song position is about. Song position, so returns the host's current song position in 960 ticks per quarter note. Okay, so that's going to give us exactly where we're at in our transport in the song, or in the piece, or in the whatever. Okay, let's jump on in and take a look. bumping up a new instrument. We're going to write it from scratch, as we always do. And we got to have a look at the very first thing we need to do, look up initialization and declare some of our UI. We could call this test, we could call it clock, we could call it what it really is, but we're not going to, because I'm going to follow the manual. Declare the tick counter and set listener. So again, this listener function is just incredibly handy. I promise we will do something. There we go. I promise that we will do something more useful with this. Sorry, I'm trying to like type things out at the same time as I write them or as I read them and talk about something else. So I guess it's something I'm going to get better at, right? No, I'm still waiting. But yeah, so this thing, we could send this in seconds or milliseconds or anything. The first time I think I would have used this would have been on a delay, but the beautiful big phrase sample libraries by Sonokinetic do it in this way that they sync to your tempo, and it's really, really quick as a composer to use them basically to get really, really great results without having to play around a lot. Even like Storm Drum, like the East-West stuff, they use a lot of this in their program stuff, because obviously it just like pings MIDI over and over again. So they would use this in their libraries as well. Well, they're not using Kontakt, but they would have rewritten this for some reason. If that would have been unfortunate if I'd left that if. So this area is setting our direction. So we're going one way, and then once we hit it, we change direction and we go back. Direction's basically either left or right, 0 being right, 1 being go left, or anti-clockwise. Clockwise and anti-clockwise, however you want to think of them. Yep, so there we go. So let's see if we can get this to keep going. So what do we need to add here? We need to add that if the tick counter hits 0, then set our direction back again. I think I've missed something here. Yeah, I feel like I've missed this bit. Let's see. Yeah, so I've missed that bit, which is when the tick counter hits 0, then change it to the other direction as well. Okay, so if tick counter equals 0, direction equals 0 rather. And if, have I got too many and ifs? No. There we go. So there's our knob that now works off time. Okay, so we could actually change this. Well, no, we don't want to change that to 99. We could change this to 3. Right, so it would only go up to 33 instead of 99. So because it's going to be dividing by 3, that kind of thing. Or we could change it to even 0.1. No, we couldn't. 0.1f. No, getting lost in the other programming languages. That's okay. So what if I change this to 2000? Much, much, much faster. 100. Unbelievably fast. Kind of just completely going crazy on me there. And then super slow. And incredibly slow. Right? So immediately you can see how this would work if you wanted to use something that would ping off milliseconds or seconds or beats or bars. We will keep playing with this kind of functionality, especially when we get to the point of building some of our own instruments with some of this functionality, which I will do in a secondary kind of part. So thanks for joining me, and I guess I will see you next time.